right?
Yes.
Louis Yu, right, from BID Toastmasters Club. And Louis, would you like to share with us your ideas about Slash?
Yes, of course. Hi, I'm Louis. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me. And now it's going to our general evaluation section. And first, I'd like to introduce to you my idea for the Slash. First, I do like to have a Slash, and my ideal side hustle is to be a teacher, English tutor. Maybe I'm not qualified now, but in the future, I hope I can be one. So now, since we are going to evaluate our speech, first, allow me to introduce very elegant female I admire very, very highly. She is a student now, and also she's from another club. She is her club is holding a very interesting and fantastic joint meeting in May in Majie, and I think she can introduce it more close to the end of the meeting. And in this session, we are going to evaluate our speaker, because our speaker putting his heart, her heart, onto our hand, and they do like to know what's their strength and weakness. So the following two individual evaluators are very important, because they are going to evaluate them, going to give them suggestion to improve. So, ladies and gentlemen, first, join me to welcome Angela.
Such a wonderful day, right?
Yes.
Yes. And Andrew, I think you have some excellence that you use. You use the questions at first, at your beginning. I think this is very great to open everybody's attentions to you. I think use the questions to be the opening is great, and you also use some the vocals varieties, just like you say bling, and you also add some gestures. I think that is very great. It also can catch someone's eyes. And that is very great, because the personal experience is also can appeal to someone's attentions. But I think you have some things that I can suggest you, that when you choose the topic, you are sharing your personal experience. I think you can get more emotional, just like your vocals varieties can be like I am happy, just something like that, and your gestures can more vivid, just very, very expressed. It's very, I think that you know that, and I think because of this, your speech can just make it feels more realities. Other people will feel, this doesn't think this is others one's stories. They can feel by themselves. And I think you have something. I think next time, and you can choose the unfamiliar topics to use to challenge yourself. And I think this is very good for your future presentations on the stage. And you also can extend your times to the 7 minutes, because I noticed that it's just only about not to the 6 minutes. Maybe you can more the extensions. I think those would be very great. But how to extend the time? I think you can add more some content in this, because this topic you're tidying up about the clothes, about the house. So I think you can get the more detail how to do it, and how the feelings about this Netflix dramas. Yes, I think that was very great. So because of you, I'm searching online about the spark joy. And in this maybe the dramas or books have some sentence I'm very like. It says, just leave something that you are love and the sparklings. Other things can abandon. I think this sentence was very great. Hope you next time can more perfections. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you see, I have a very strong evaluation team. And now I'm introducing my next evaluator that he answered the meeting thing by saying that he likes to play video game, and sometimes play video game with his wife is also another option. And what's more interesting is that he answered that he wanted to make it as his career before. However, somehow he found it's hard to earn money, so he somehow quit this practice or this imagination. But now he's implementing it in a very practical way. Join me to welcome Yulong Li.
Thank you, Louis. And Jake, thanks for giving us such a perfect speech. Like mother, like son is a good topic because it can immediately attract audience attention, because it's easy to understand what you want to deliver to the audience. And I think in your speech, there are three things that you did really good. The first one is that your sense of humor. You make audience to laugh not once, more than once, about 3 times. You make this ability is really good, because I think how to make audience to laugh is harder. It's a harder skill. And the second advantage of your speech is that you can control audience emotions. For example, when you talk about you have a fight with your mother, I think it's a down emotion of our audience. And when you talk about your mother make up the relation with you, and she give you money that you can come back in the future, and she also give you suggestions for you, and I think that is the up emotion of the audience. So the transform from the down to the up emotion, I think you do the really good job. And the third part is that you have a strong conclusion. And in the conclusions, you use 3 strong and simple sentences to tell us that the parents' unconditional love is important for all of our audience. That because they will support you whatever you do and wherever you are. So I think there are 3 parts you do a really good job. And there's 2 suggestions I want to give you. The first one is I think you can have a short pause between each paragraph, and because that can make the audience be more concentrated on your speech. And I think you can slow down your path in the conclusion part, because you have a good conclusion, but you just speak too quick. I think because you are nervous. So if you can slow down your path in the conclusion part, I think that will be much better. And the second suggestion is that the vocal variety for your speech. I think you can have I think the lower volume when you talk about your fight with your mothers, and you can have a higher volume, and when you talk about your mother give you suggestions, some funny suggestions. So in conclusions, you have 3 parts. You do a very good job. You have humorous, and you have control audience emotions, and you also have a strong conclusion. So I think I'm looking forward for your future speak. So thank you.
The following speaker, well, this female, I put her really very elegant female because she just represent her Japanese club to deliver speech in Kaohsiung during the conference. Yeah, and then her determination eclipsed all the people I know, and she is also very successful in her career. She used to work. When she answered the meeting thing, she said she used to work too hard, but she's trying to put more emphasis on her family and self-growing. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Elaine Xu.
Thank you, Louis, for your nice introduction. I got the third place in the Japanese speech contest, but there were only 3 contestants. Okay, but to me that's another practice experience. Since it's still I'm not sure if it's connected.
Yes.
Okay, let me continue anyway. So as usual, I will divide my language evaluation into 3 parts. And the first is good usages. I like how Yulong said, you can say, especially for Zhanghua Bank's members, you can say, I am a banker / Toastmaster. This is very good expression. And then one of our speakers talked about Maria Kondo's heading up. And okay, bye. Oh, okay. Thank you. How do I control this? Yeah, thank you. And so when can I have the first? Is it you?
Yeah.
Tidying up. Who talked about Maria Kongo? Sorry? Yeah. So to pile something up, he piled his clothes up before he decided which to keep or which to let go. So pile something up is a good phrase to know. And spark joy. This is very hot expression nowadays on the internet. This is invented by Maria Kondo actually. Yeah, but now in America it's very popular, so you can also learn this phrase. And the next one is to find the fixed position for the clothes. So this is actually quite difficult for me too. So my house is a mess. I hope you can do it. And the next one is money is not the problem. The problem is that we don't have money. And I think this is a very wise sentence and also very hilarious. So everybody laughed when the speaker said this. The next one is to his mother walk in front of him to set an example for him. That's very beautiful. And later he said, she walks behind me in case I fall. I almost cried for this sentence. Okay, and I think we are all blessed with our mothers or fathers' unconditional love. So these are the beautiful sentences that I heard today. And the next part is pronunciation. Today in the variety session, we played a game called Ignorant What? Bastard or something?
Yes, it's the name of the movie.
Can you say again the name of the?
Ignorant Bastard.
Oh, ignorant bastard. But the word, the stress is in the first syllable, so it's ignorant, not ignorant. And ignorant means not having enough knowledge, understanding, or information about something. So in the game, we try to ask questions, right? And there's a very similar word, but not the same meaning. It's oblivious. Oblivious means not conscious of something, especially what is happening around you. So maybe here we have many young men here, and maybe there are girls who like you, but you don't know, so you are oblivious about those things. And then next is sun. Let's practice this. Sun.
Sun.
Not sun. Sun.
Sun.
And the next one is the R sound. And because I'm particularly interested in American accent, so I worked really hard on the R sound. And today I heard some people say works several times, but I know in British accent you don't pronounce R, you like work. But someone went to Australia, right? And I'm not sure about the Australian accent, but today I want to share with you the American accent. So let's practice together. Work.
Work.
Working holiday.
Working holiday.
Spark joy.
Spark joy.
Airport.
Airport.
Thank you. And next part, the last part is in other words. So someone said, in my point of view, maybe you can say from my point of view or in my opinion. And someone said, as he has mentioned before, and maybe you can say, as he just mentioned, or as he has mentioned earlier. Because to me, if you use before, it sounds like a long time ago, but that was just maybe 2 minutes earlier. And the next one is, how many abilities do we need? And actually, I don't know if we can really count the items of abilities. So if it were me, I would say, what skills do we need or what abilities, instead of how many. And when the timer set his job duty, he said, I have 3 flags. And I think maybe the timer, maybe you try to memorize a script that someone gave you, right? But look at your board, it's not a flag, it's a board. They are boards. But in some other clubs, they do use flags. Okay, and the next one, if you overtime, you will be disqualified. And I heard this many times in Toastmasters meetings. Overtime is an adverb. So if you want to use the word overtime, you can say, if you speak overtime, you need a verb in front of this adverb. Or you can say, if you pass the time limit, you'll be disqualified. And next one is, have you ever moved your house before? Move your house, that's going This is so difficult. I don't know. I'm not really sure if this is right or wrong, but have you moved? I think this would sound more natural to me. But actually, I checked on the Cambridge Dictionary, and move house is a usage especially in British English. So if you want to use move house, maybe you don't want to say your, just have you ever moved house. And have, you have to use have, ed, 完成式. And the next one is we moved into a small house. I think you live in Taipei, right? Oh, sorry, Taipei, right? You don't really move into a house, you move into an apartment. I think it's not a house. A house is 独栋的那种. And the next one is I searched in the internet, but it's on the internet.
On the internet.
No, that's all? Really? Okay. Okay. And do I still have time? No, I don't. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Really very informative. And so may I now invite the timer report.
And to be 6 minutes and 3 seconds.
And then Jane.
4 minutes and 17.
17.
Yeah.
Angela.
Angela, 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
9 seconds. And Yvonne.
3 minutes and 37.
37.
Yeah.
37. Okay. And then Leo.
1 minute and 35.
1 minute 35. And Leo.
1 minute and 54.
54. 4.
In 1 minute and 4 seconds.
4 seconds. Okay. 11.
1 minute and 15.
1 minute 15. 50.
15.
Oh, 15. Sure. And then aha counter 7.
Yeah. 0. Wow. 4.
4.
4.
4.
Leo. The first Leo.
Yes.
0. And 7. And 3.
3.
2.
2. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all the helpers. But as I can see, all qualified except Yulong, right? Oh, okay. Okay. So really very high quality meeting as I can see. Well, because my time is really limited, I'm going to go very quick. Well, first of all, I'm very warm greeted as a guest in before the beginning of the meeting. So you did really good job that as a guest, someone in the front door to greet me. And this meeting is really high quality because someone is shooting the video, and then it's really helpful as I was an individual evaluator before, and I reviewed what I evaluated, and then I improved from that. So that's really good. And few suggestions I can give is really limited, but first, probably next time when someone is over time, we may use more stronger signal to them, and then about all the arrangement, I can say it's really good. Well, I should say because I learned really much today, and I learned from the evaluators as well, and learned from any helpers. And for example, the 2 speeches was really good. Well, when I moved to my wife's apartment, I actually threw all the things away because I want the space for myself. So the space is really important. And then the unconditional love is really touching, and it's approaching the Mother's Day. So actually, I was almost crying when you are mentioning about that. And I know my mom very well, and she knows me very well. And when someone has kids, they will know, actually, I'm correcting myself because I'm teaching my kids. So it's really important to honor our moms, and then to review our behavior again and again. Do I still have time? Yeah. And finally, the suggestions, because I can hardly find any flaws in your meeting. Probably you can have some signal in your signing part. For example, I mean, when I'm signing my name on that, I'm thinking is the agenda. But finally, I found that it's because of the eco issue, eco problem. I mean concerns. So you don't put that in paper, and then I can easily refer to my cell phone as the schedule goes by. So probably you can have like oral or some sort of information to the guest that we don't print it out or inform in advance. But besides that, actually I can hardly find any weakness in your club. So it's putting me in a hard time to do that. All in all, I enjoy today's meeting and I think it's really successful. I enjoy a lot and expecting your next meeting. Thank you.